Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Unchurch. This is Katie Weaver. I am so happy to be here. Oh, what a week it has been, right? What a weird week it has been. Well, I hope it's been a good week for all of you guys, but I know that the energy this week has been fairly tumultuous, so we're not sure what to expect. I am live on Facebook, or you may be watching this later live, or not live, but watching this later on YouTube. I'm going to take just a second here to share this event into a couple of groups and then we will get started. So, as always, I want to welcome you. I want to tell you that Unchurch has always been a brief gathering for like minded souls, for anybody who wants to come together this lovely Sunday morning and just share in some spirit. One thing I've discussed a lot, is that with many of you is that we may not have a congregation anymore. Many of us that were raised in religion, in fact, don't really subscribe to organized religion, but maybe just want a little spiritual upliftment or edification on Sunday morning, something to share together. So that's the point of Unchurched. That's why we are here. So, uh, happy Father's Day, obviously, to all of the dads out there, and also to all of the moms who wear the role of father. Happy Father's Day to my husband, Scott, who is just such an awesome dad and great role model to our kids. And happy Father's Day to my dad in heaven. I am confident that there are steaks on the grill in heaven, that there is fishing and golfing and all of his favorite things. I'm just sure of it. So, happy Father's Day to him. I couldn't have been blessed with a better dad, a funnier dad, and a more supportive dad. So, I know Father's Day is a weird day for some people that, for many of you that didn't have a dad or a good dad experience, or for all of us who have buried our dads, it kind of sucks. But at the same time, count our blessings, right? So here we are. All righty. Well, I always on Unchurched like to share some good news. Since there seems to be plenty of bad news out there in the world for us every day, this is some good news. So, we're looking at the Good News Network because they always have all kinds of great news for us. And some of it is just so awesome and relevant. I was very excited to see that a bipartisan Senate effort overwhelmingly passes Great American Outdoors Act to fund maintenance backlogs in national parks. So awesome. I'm surrounded by national parks where I live. I am near Targhee National Park. I'm near Grand Teton National Park, and also very near Yellowstone National Park. So it's important to me, all of this public land, that it gets maintained and, that we keep it pristine for all of us. So very good. Okay. All right. Tiny forests are springing up all around Europe, inspired by Japan, to help restore biodiversity. We're seeing little forests crop up in, plots of land in the middle of cities, on the tops of buildings, along roadways. People care. We're starting to see so much work on behalf of the planet, getting back to something a little wilder, a little more natural. One big push has been to grow things that are native to your area rather than bring a lot of things in that aren't, to be sure that what you're growing is actually native to your area so that it can thrive and so that you can continue to bring more of that to the area where you need it the most, where your uh, environment needs it the most. And I always think that's pretty cool. So, big push. Speaking of that, I guess, yesterday morning we woke up to a bit of a crisis. It turned out okay, but our main line from our well to our house had broken at some point under the ground and had flooded our I have a little herb garden, a kitchen garden right next to my house. It was full of standing water. Our yard was pretty flooded, and we ended up having to rent a track hoe and dig down 7 feet to get to the break. Luckily, my son was home from college, was able to help his dad, and Scott has the skills, so so does Micah. So they were able to dig this enormous hole and find the break and fix it and get us back in business. Uh, it did a real number on my garden and my front yard, and not really sure what I'm gonna do now. Right now, it's a big mud pit. But the good we have water. It didn't cost $1,000,000 to fix it, and it's okay. So now I have the opportunity of remaking that front part of my yard. Is it going to be a little deck or patio? Is it going to be a garden rethought? I don't know. We had to take the fence apart to the fence that little garden in, and it is now destroyed. So something's going to be changed. Something's going to be different. Some of my plants are gone for good. Some of them got repotted into little planters, and I'm hoping they'll be okay. But yeah, so that was something. But all's well that ends well. We do have water, and everything truly is okay. Um, yeah, but that was definitely something to wake up to. Okay. But back on good news. That was good news. I mean, truly, it could have been so much worse. But all right. A charity has been giving out $1,000 checks to teenagers so that they can uplift anyone they want to support. 1,000 bucks. Take it, do something good with it. Isn't that cool? I can only imagine what my kids would do if somebody handed them $1,000 and said, "Go make the world better with this." What an amazing thought. Okay. California organ donation charity is still on track for record-setting year despite COVID-19 upheavals, which is an enormous thing because if you know or have loved anybody who was on the list for organ donation, you know that there's not nearly enough for the need. So that's very cool. I still believe that we're going to get to a point where organ donation becomes more rare as we have organs that have been created. And that might scare some of you and maybe not. I don't know. But I do believe that technology is taking us to a place that, if somebody needs a kidney or maybe they need a new liver, maybe it's not from a human donor anymore. Maybe it is a robotic one of sorts. We'll see. I know not everybody would want that, but I think it's very compelling. Okay. Target has made the coronavirus pay raise permanent, setting hourly minimum wage to $15 with extra bonuses. So if you've been looking, Target pays well. That's very cool. All right. Uber driver is rewarded with new car by Jada Pinkett Smith after she delivers thousands of meals to hospital workers. How cool is that? I love when a good turn creates another good turn. That's the kind of world I want to live in. In a show of solidarity, Morocco sends 8 million masks to 15 African nations. Wow. All right. John Hopkins is offering free online course in psychological first aid. Isn't that amazing? Something we should all take and know how to help others, how to help ourselves. Yep. A startup in Uganda recycles plastic bottles into PPE face shields for hospitals. We've gotten more creative. We definitely have. Pretty cool. All right. A Kentucky tattoo parlor is creatively covering up hate tattoos for free. So, if at some point in someone's life they made a decision that they really regret now, you can go in there and they will do something very cool on your body to cover that up so that you don't have to carry that anymore. Isn't that neat? All right. Well, there's so much more, but that's what I'm going to share with you today. There is good news on the horizon. There's more good in the world. There are more people that care. There are more people that want to take good care of each other. Unfortunately, it's the minority that makes the news, and it's the minority that probably still needs some attitude adjustments. We know this, but we can't forget there is more good in the world than bad. Well, yesterday was the summer solstice, and today I wanted to share a poem. You know, You might have not celebrated the summer solstice, or maybe you did. I'm still going to give you some ideas about how to celebrate. It's still the summer solstice, right? One of my favorite days of the year, truly. Such a lovely, lovely day. So, I want to share with you a summer solstice blessing. It's the midsummer's evening, the shortest of night, where our planet is blessed with the greatest of light. The sun at its power, sharing its wealth, with the earth glowing in abundance and health. The trees' leaves are green, the birds are in song, the days are as warm as they are long. We honor the animals, the plants, and living things, the sun and the water, and the life that it brings. May you find well being and may you find peace in days after solstice as the light does decrease. May the blessings of the solstice be yours, I pray, and the light warm your heart and soul every day. I thought that was perfect. I love that for the summer solstice. I just wanted to give you a few suggestions as well of things you can do to mark the summer solstice, to celebrate it. Our ancestors used the summer solstice as a time to start gathering plants and herbs. There's a belief that particularly medicinal herbs are strongest at the summer solstice, that they're the most potent. So consider gathering from your garden or from a community garden or wild crafting if you can do that. But this is the time. It's time for me to go to the mountains and gather the rose petals that I'm going to use all winter long in bath scrubs and potpourris and incense and all of the things that I like to use rose for. It's time for me to walk out to my garden, what's still there, and harvest some oregano and some basil and some rosemary and some sage and other things that are growing, chamomile growing wild. This is a good time for that. You can create a little bath for yourself, put together some petals of flowers. You want to try and make sure those are organic, don't be bathing in pesticides, but gathering some flowers of or petals of flowers, some leaves of herbs, whatever calls to you and feels right, that is safe, of course, and put them together in a satchel and use those in your bath to help celebrate the summer solstice. You could, of course, gather with others for a drum circle or a spiral or a healing circle or just a group of like minded people that want to gather and discuss like minded things. Any of those things would be perfect. You could create a mandala or a sun wheel. You could do that in your yard. You could do that on your kitchen table or on a tray. You could do that by with ink. You could do it digitally. But the idea of the mandala or the circle of life absolutely supports the idea of the summer solstice, of the return of the light, right? Well, now the light starts to go away, but of midsummer, of all things that grow, of fertility, right? So that's a really cool one. I've always wanted to make a spiral in my yard. Maybe I'll do that at some point. You can burn a sacred fire. Of course, you could create a bonfire or an enormous fire somewhere, or if that's not a possibility for you, you could light a candle. You could get a small fire bowl and light a little fire on your patio. Whatever. Be safe, of course, be smart. But a fire is a wonderful way. Fires are a representation of the summer solstice because of the connection to the sun. That is an altar of light. You could make a prayer stick or a prayer tree or a crystal grid or a prayer jar or bowl that you can continue to add to all those around you that might need a little extra love, a little extra prayer from you, that you can continue to include in your daily prayers or meditations or energy work or drumming or whatever it is you do. But that's a great way to do that. That's a great way to honor the light that is within all of us and continue to take good care of each other. So, those are a few thoughts for the summer solstice. I hope that you guys have an opportunity to do something to mark the solstice. I do. We're going to have a fire later tonight. Um, what I thought I might do yesterday, well, got overtaken by, the water situation, but that's cool. I can roll with that. We can still be okay here. All righty. So, lastly, I just wanted to pull a card and give us a sense of what we need to know this week moving forward. So, I'm going to pull a card from the Goddess Oracle. This is that cool deck that I got for Christmas from Scott that I've been having a lot of fun with. So, just going to shuffle it up a little here and just ask, what do we need to know for the summer solstice? For the week of the solstice, it lasts a lot longer than a week, but I really want to know what we want to know for this week. And I'm sure that ties into the solstice. Okay, so the goddess is Yemaya, and the message is surrender. She's a mermaid. Surrender. What does that mean for all of us? I feel like this week, that's a really good message for us because we have been fighting hard. We've been swimming upstream. And sometimes we have to. In the case of social justice, it's going to be, right? Sometimes we have to swim upstream, but that gets very tiring too. And there's a message here about allowing yourself to relax, allowing yourself to rest when you need to, allowing yourself to surrender to what your body needs, to what your spirit needs. We have gotten to be in a place in the US particularly, but I think in the world as well, where we live in survival mode. And survival mode is a tough place to be. Survival mode means that you are always trying to tread water. You are always surviving for today, and you are always on high alert. That's a tough place to be. People that live their lives in survival mode have a hard time setting goals. They have a hard time accomplishing much of anything besides whatever today's tasks demand. They have a hard time saving money. They have a hard time getting ahead. Why? Because when you're in survival mode, you're living for today. And that's tough. And, unfortunately, I think a lot of people who aren't used to living like that have found themselves there during COVID and now during everything else that's going on in the world. And that's a hard life. It is. It's a hard way to live when you feel like you are always just trying to get through the day. So, how do we stop doing that? It's hard on your health too. That's really hard on your adrenal glands. It's hard on your blood pressure. It's just no way to live. But how do you stop? When you're used to living in survival mode now, when we are in the hyper aware state, how do you stop? Well, part of it is a conscious choice. Part of it, I think, is counting your blessings, really taking a hard look at what you have, gratitude, recognizing, reflecting. I think those are all really important things. I think stepping away from the news. I'm not saying don't be, involved. I'm not saying don't be informed. I think that in itself is foolish, but maybe just monitor how much news you're allowing yourself to consume, what sources it's coming from, and monitor what you are doing with your time. And is it bringing you joy? Is it helping you to succeed? Or is it keeping you in this state of survival mode, of treading water, of feeling like you are constantly having to be hyper aware and keeping your heart just beating a little bit faster? If that's the case, if you're discovering that the way you're spending your time is maybe not serving you as well as you would like, maybe it's time to find something else to do. I feel like during times like this, looking for hobbies, looking for creative endeavors, looking for things to do that have nothing to do with surviving are really, really important. So if you haven't picked up a hobby at this point, maybe think about it. If you haven't figured out something that you like to create or do or put some time into, maybe this is the time. But I am urging all of you to surrender that hyper awareness, to surrender that need to constantly be in the know, that need to constantly be looking, to be reading, to be watching. And at the end of the day, if we could all surrender our need to be right, I think we'd find a whole lot more peace in this world. I don't know. It's just a thought. Well, guys, that's it. We've done it. I promised that Unchurch would be about 20 minutes, and that's what it's going to be. I don't want to take any more of your time this lovely Sunday morning or mine. So, thank you so much for being here. If you would like to learn more about me, you can do so over at katie-weaver.com. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and I'll see you all soon. Take care.